Pocket Money Podcast. How the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. What's important is to understand why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That way you can obviously flip the tables, right? So that we can go from being poor to rich and, well, hopefully not go the other way around, right? From rich to poor. But no surprising how people who are rich tend to go poor because they make the bad decisions. They do things that causes them to be poor. And ironically, what causes a rich person to become poor is the same reason a poor person is poor. So let me explain. So the idea is, right, is that, or the understanding is, the truth is that rich people, right, the way they get rich is they do stuff that makes them money, right? Not necessarily a job, just they do stuff that makes them money, investing in stocks and real estate and stuff like that. But one of the things about these investments, right, is that they're investing in things that already have a habit of taking advantage of people with less money, right? More often than taking money from people with more money. For example, when it comes to real estate, a large majority of money that gets made and and collected comes from rent. Who's renting? Not necessarily billionaires, right? They tend to own stuff. And they tend to own stuff that they rent, which makes them money, and they can use that money that they make from the rent of the properties they own, right? Their assets, they call it. And they use that money to go pay for their house, right? Their home, right? To pay their bills and stuff like that. So they have us, right? The poor people, right? Well, I'm not us, but you get the idea. The poor people, let's just say poor people, or the poor or people. So people with less income, let's put it that way. People with less income than, the rich, right, are renting, paying because they can't afford a home yet. If they put in the effort, save money and whatnot, invest, they could do it too, of course. They can get their own house. But that means that they have to get somebody else to pay for it, right? And that's the whole idea. Rich people have other people make them money, right? It's not like they're working their asses off, 24/7, 360 days, 365 days a year, right? Non-stop, like machines, working and earning money. No, they're paying for other people to work. That's where, companies come into play. That's why when you invest in a company, you're investing in the company's ability to monetize their workers, right? Monetize their employees and take money from first off, their surrounding community, as well as, whatever they can reach. So if they have global reach, then they're taking money from, like I said, the people with low income, the poor, right? And taking that money and put it into their pockets, right? And that's the process. Because the way money's supposed to work is it's supposed to go from one hand to another, right? It's supposed to circulate, right? That's why we call it economy. It's supposed to circulate. Money's supposed to go from hand to hand, right? Which means any money that a rich person touch, at some point, a poor person's supposed to touch it, right? And it's supposed to go in an endless cycle. And everybody's supposed to be able to take a turn being rich or poor, right? You're rich when you're able to hold on to money for a long period of time, but still be able to spend some money, but still have money left over, right? Which is why getting paid properly, getting a livable wage is important. Enough money to live, but still have a little bit of money extra for personal use or just to save, right? The way you know you're successful, well, financially anyway, is that you have money to save, money to spend, and money to give away, right? If you could do all three of those things every time you get paid, then you're financially successful. So when you have, companies, businesses, that their main focus is to provide a product or a service for the sole purpose of getting money out your hand into their hands. Well, obviously we call that just business, but if you really look at it carefully, you notice a lot of these businesses tend to focus, tend to promote, tend to function largely in areas that generate low income, right? That have a lot of people who have very little income, and that's what they focus on because it's easier to get money from people who have very little money than it is to get from people who have a lot of money. The reason why rich people, right, have billions and of dollars in the bank is because they're not spending the money, right? They're saving. They got more money than they need, even though they should be the ones spending the most. They should be out here, right, spending money on local mom and pop shops, right? They should be out here buying a whole bunch of stuff on Amazon, but typically they don't. They tend to buy their stuff from other places, or they tend to get a lot of free stuff, because they know somebody who knows somebody, so they're able to get free stuff. Good for them, right? But that further proves the issue with the fact that people with a lot of money tend to keep it and spend less of it, yet they tend to live a better life than people who constantly spend money, right? That's just because of the situation there, right? But back to the poor get poorer thing is that poor people don't sell to rich people, right? We buy their products, right? We buy their services. We give them money first for whatever they did, right? If they made music, right? If they made a movie or something, right? They have a hotel, whatever. We give them money, but they don't give it back. And the thing is, money's supposed to circulate. So the money you give out to people at some point is supposed to come back to you at some point. If the money is circulating like it's supposed to be doing. The problem is you have people hoarding it, and that's the rich. And this is part of the problem why, the poor hate the rich. Because they know that the rich don't spend the money like they're supposed to. They're doing what they're not supposed to be doing, which is hoarding the money, keeping the money as if it's theirs. It's not. That's another misconception, is assuming that money belongs to you. It's not. It's meant for you to give to other people. You're supposed to give people money for them to do stuff for you. That's the whole barter system. The fact that you're holding on to it, holding on to this piece of paper, right? This material, this item that is meant to be given out. You're supposed to spend it. Billionaires, millionaires, they're supposed to spend. They should be the ones spending the most money on things, right? They should be making sure that things are being done and taken care of. And then the other funny thing is, they'll be the same people. They'll agree that there's problems in the world, there's issues, there's things that need to be fixed. But instead of them fixing it, and they have the means and capabilities of doing it, they instead just be like, well, the people who are having the problem need to fix it themselves. Even though the problem is a financial problem. If the problem is a financial problem, and the people who are having the financial problem can't solve the problem because they don't have the finance to solve it, then logically, that means whoever does have the financial capabilities to solve this financial problem should be the one solving the financial problem. Because they can. The solution is finance, right? It's money. If the solution to the problem is money, and the people with the most money have it, while the people with the least money don't have it, then obviously, logically, the people with the most money is supposed to, or at least be considerate enough to be like, oh, well, since I got the money and I can solve this problem easily by just using it, here's the money, problem solved. That's what I do when I have money. I solve problems with it. I don't try to hoard it. I definitely don't try to think that and try to act like money is important, because it's not. Money is only important when you spend it, not when you keep it. Definitely not when you have it, not when you collect it. It's when you spend it. That's the whole purpose of money, is to be spent, right? It's to be given to someone else. It's essentially a favor token. You give it to somebody, but like, here, thank you for mowing my lawn, or thank you for delivering my food that I ordered. Here, money, take it. Go use it to have somebody else do something for you. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's why it's so, disrespectful to see in society how many people try to hoard it, try to act like money is important. And the more they have it, the more important they feel. And that's, a childish mindset. That's not an adult mindset. That's a child mindset. They're trying to have the highest score in the game of life. The more money you have, the more you feel like you're a winner, but not realizing it's what you do with your life that makes you a winner, not that you collected a lot of the same shit, a lot of money, therefore you feel important. It's like, but you're not important. What you do is what makes you important. And if you're a piece of shit with billions of dollars, well, you're a piece of shit. The billions of dollars is not going to erase the fact that you're a piece of shit. But if you use the billions of dollars to do amazing things, to be a good, decent person, then you're a decent person. So we will give you the accolade of you being a decent person. It's not that you have money that makes you a decent person. It's the fact that you're a decent person. And you just so happen to have money on top of that. So your actions is what matters. Right? Who you are is what matters. And it'd be weird for you to think that who you are is your finance. You are, because you have very little to no money, you are poor. No, you just don't have money. Right? You are not poor. Your financial capabilities is poor or lacking, however way you want to look at it. But your financial capabilities, your resources is poor. Right? So you want to obviously improve it. But it's not that you are poor, as if that's your mindset. Right? Now, do people have the poor person mindset? Yeah, there is such thing of a poor mindset and a rich mindset. And that's why, I'm making these podcasts to get people to start thinking differently, because most people do have a poor mindset. Not everybody has a poor mindset, but most do have a poor mindset. And that is the whole thing of, as soon as they have money, they immediately spend it, which I was just saying that, yes, money is meant to be spent to do things. That is true. But when you have a small amount of it, it's not a good idea to spend it right away, because then you will have none. And if you don't have money to do things, to spend, then you end up, poor, right? That's the whole poor thing. That's the poor mindset, that as soon as you have money, you have to spend it, when instead you should invest it, right? And the reason you're investing is for the purpose of making the money grow. And the reason you're making the money grow is so you can have more of it. And the reason you're trying to have more of it is so that way you can spend it, but still have it, so you can spend some more and just keep that constantly going. This is part of why I'm saying, the idea that there's people who have a lot of money, like millionaires, billionaires, and stuff like that, should be spending money, is because they can always get it back. They can always get money. They shouldn't be hesitating to spend money. See, poor people with very little money, definitely should hesitate to spend money. Is the point of this episode, is spend less, so that you can have some left over, so you can invest, so you can hopefully use it to grow. Think of money like fruit, right? Fruit has seeds in it, right? And you can take the seeds out the fruit and then put the seeds into the soil and grow more fruit, more of the fruit that you're eating. Let's say apples. You can take the apples and grow yourself some apples, or take a tomato and grow yourself some tomatoes, right? By taking the seeds and growing a tomato plant. You're taking something that you obtain, you work for, right? You work to get the tomato. You plant half of the tomato, right? You took a slice or whatever, planted it, and turned it into more tomatoes. That's what you need to do with money. You need to take money and then have the money make money. And when your money is making money, well, then you always have money, right? So you can always do things. You can always pay for things. And that's the most important thing you want to do, is be able to do things. Because that's the whole purpose of money anyway, is the ability to do things, the ability to pay other people to do stuff. If you have an idea for solving a problem, but you need help, working on that project, right, on that idea, then you find people who are willing to help you and pay them. That's what the money's for. Pay them to help you. You're paying them for the help. And then they can use the money and, do things that they want to do. Those are the kind of stuff that, most people don't think about. Especially if you're, on the poor side. Because I see this a lot when, there'll be somebody that doesn't have a job, right? Doesn't make money, and they're complaining about not having money. It's like, well, duh, you don't have a job. You're not doing anything to make money, so no surprise you have no money. But then you'll see somebody who does have a job. They might even have 2 jobs, yet they still saying the same thing as the person who doesn't have a job. Oh, I don't have money. I don't have money. It's like, okay, that's kind of weird, considering the fact you have a job. You actually make money, so the whole fact that you don't have money, there's something wrong there. That don't make sense. It makes sense a person without a job don't have money, but it doesn't make sense a person with a job don't have money. So there's something wrong there. There's something that needs to be looked at much more closely. Why don't you have money? And then when you look at how they spend the money, it's like, that's the thing. First and foremost is you're spending money, and you're not spending a lot of it on stuff you need. You're spending it on stuff you want. And whatever leftover money is left over, then you put that towards your needs. That's part of your problem. So first you got to put money towards what you need, pay your bills, pay your rent, all that stuff, right? Buy food, hygiene products, the stuff you need, right? Replace your old clothes with new ones. Take care of your needs first. Whatever's left over, try to save it, or at least take half of what's left over, put it towards whatever you want, and then the other half save. If you're not going to save, all of the leftovers, at least take half of it, save it, and then the other half spend it, right? You should break your money down into like 3 parts, right? Money to save, money to spend, money to give away. That's why I said if you can do all 3 of those things with the money you receive whenever you get money, you're going to be successful, right? At least financially, because you always have money saved up, right? Because you're always saving money. You can always spend money, so you're living your life. You're not sacrificing having a life, right? Living your life, doing things just because you're trying to save money, right? Because again, money is a tool. So it's not very important to save every dollar, every penny you get, right? You want to save as much of it as possible, yes, for a rainy day, for the future. Because the future you is going to need that money for something. Maybe to buy a house or something. So you want to save money, but you still want to live your life. Because until you have enough money to buy that house that you want to at least be able to eat, sleep, right? Go to work, have some fun in the meantime. Because it's going to take a long time for you to get to, your financial goals. Or at least get to the point where you can start using a lot of the money you save and invest it into stuff where you just start making $1,000 here and there, make $100,000, make $1 million here and there. You're just waiting to that point. And you're working towards that goal of getting to that point where you could put your money into stuff and it makes you a lot of money in return. Like how the rich people do. Their money makes them money. If you can get loans, then you want to get loans, right? Get big lump sums, like $10,000, $20,000, stuff like that, and start putting it towards stuff that makes you money. Don't take out loans, right? To be like, all right, I'm going to use this $10,000 loan to pay off bills and shit. It's like, no, that's just you giving people money, and then they're not going to give it back. That's a bad idea. Now you still owe the $10,000 back to the bank after the fact. So it's like you're just putting yourself in a bad situation when you do that. If you're going to get a loan, it better be because you're going to use that money to make money, so that we can pay the loan back and still got money, and then still continue doing that process of using money to make money, and keep that cycle going. You want to create a money-making machine, as it were, or a system in which you're constantly making money, right? So just think of money like a seed. You're trying to, in your financial portfolio, you want it to be like a farm. You want to put your money into different things like different stocks, for example, real estate, start a business, or put money into somebody's business. Let's say somebody who wants to start a business, like a corner store or something, or a restaurant or something, and put money into it, right? Be an investor into their business, support their dreams, right? Support what they want to do, and in return, make some money off of it and go from there. These are the things that most people who want to be rich, they do. They try to find ways that they can make money without them having to be the ones directly who make it. Have somebody else make the money for you, right? Have somebody else earn the money and you get a cut. This is why you have stuff like managers, people who manage talents. Like, oh, you're a great basketball player. You know what? Let me manage you. Let me get you, into the NBA or something. And they get a cut from that, right? They're using your talent. They're using you as a way of getting the money they want. Same thing as, the rich getting richer, right? And the poor getting poorer, because the rich keep offering the poor stuff in return for money. Like, here's an apartment. Give me money. Here's Netflix. Give me money. Here's Amazon. Give me money. Notice the pattern? Here's Jordans. Here's some J's. Give me money. Here's some Air Force Ones. Give me money, right? Here's a PS5. Give me money. Notice the pattern? That's the point. It's like the rich get richer because they keep offering the poor stuff in exchange for money. And the irony is, what they offer the poor tends to be poor quality stuff anyway. Tends to be stuff that, you don't really need, or the stuff just costs very, very little, right? And that's when you start getting into certain issues where it's like, oh man, the environment is getting destroyed because of, manufacturing's causing problems, things of that nature. That's for another topic, obviously. But, the rich get richer because they don't sell to people who are richer than they are. They tend to sell to the people who have less money than them, so that way they can keep having money, so they can keep living the life that they're living. And they tend to hoard the money, which is a problem, right? Another thing about the rich get richer and the poor get poor, another aspect of it is the fact that the rich, if they do spend money, they spend it largely on amongst each other. Like, they'll put money into each other. This is why I was talking about the whole investing thing. Instead of buying a PS5, they'll put money into the company that created the PS5, right? Make money from the company, and then get a PS5, right? So their investment into the company, which is now making them money, allows them to be able to easily afford the PS5. So there's less money, being taken out their pocket, because one, they generated more money, so they're able to pay for the PS5 easily at full price, or probably they got a hookup and got it for free, however way it works, and then they'll just keep making money after that anyway. So they'll get the money. So the money they spent on the PS5, they'll get it back because of the investment into the company. I remember seeing this kid. There was like some type of news. It was a YouTube video, but it was like about some news report of a black kid who took some money instead of buying sneakers, and he likes sneakers like Air Jordans and shit like that, right? So instead of buying sneakers or buying a pair of sneakers, he took the money and invested it into penny stocks, and then he was able to grow that money and make more money off that money. So then he was able to buy the sneakers, right? And he kept investing, right? He will reinvest whatever money he had left over. He'll reinvest it. So he only spent the profits, not the initial investment, and just kept reinvesting and kept making money. He was investing in sneaker companies, and he was making his money from that, and he was able to afford, sneakers. And he bought a whole bunch of sneakers. And then them sneakers, whatever sneakers he didn't want anymore, he eventually sold them for more than he paid for them. So he had two ways of making money. And that was awesome. That right there shows the power of investing before you buy stuff. Because if you invest, you'll make money. And if you make money, you can afford to buy stuff from making money from your money. Right? So, if you want to go from, not having money to having money, you need to look at your cost of living. See if you can lower your electric bill, water bill, your Netflix subscription, your internet, your phone bill, your food bill, right? Try to eat less. That's one quick way of saving money, is try to eat less. Try to eat 2 meals a day instead of 3, right? Cut down on the portions, right? Spend less money on what you're eating. Try not to eat out, stuff like that. These are the types of tips that you see typically online. People telling you, to spend less money, to focus less on like name brands and things like that. Try to go for some generic stuff because they tend to be cheaper. That way you always have money left over. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made, right? Sometimes you have to sacrifice your current quality of life in order to try to get to the next quality of life, right? Because you gotta think of life like a video game. Sometimes, you gotta play the game a little different. Sometimes you gotta sell off some of your items in the game in order to be able to afford better items down the line, right? Later on in the game, right? But most people are too, stingy and selfish that they won't, even though their circumstances says they should. I've told people many a times that I've met, if they cut back on certain things, if they get a prepaid cell phone as opposed to having a regular, cell phone like an iPhone or something like that, which is more expensive, get a cheaper, prepaid phone, they'll save money. Or if they, at least for 1 or 2 months, cut off their internet, right? They'll be able to save that money. Let's say their internet is like $50 a month. If they don't pay for internet for 2 months straight, that's $100 they can save. That's $100 they could use towards whatever goal they're going for. Especially if they're like, oh man, if I had $100, I could do this, that, and the third. It's like, okay, well, here's one way you can get $100 is by not spending $100 for 2 months of internet. Go without internet for 2 months, especially if you have a phone. Let's say you have a phone, but you have internet at home. Let's say you pay $50 for your phone bill, right? And it has internet access. Your house, you pay $50 a month for internet access, but you need $100, right? Well, then give up 2 months of either 2 months you don't pay for your phone, right? So you can save the $100 from that, or give up, or don't pay for internet for 2 months for your home internet, especially if you don't spend that much time at home and you're always on your phone anyway. Then cut off the internet at home for 2 months, and bang, there you have $100. But some people just won't do that, even though it's a logical decision, something they can do. It's like, it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying give up internet for the rest of your life. I'm just saying 2 months. You can't give up internet for 2 months, especially if you're not using it that much, just so you can have money. That leads to the whole poor mindset. Because most poor people, right? Most people with low income tend to look at people with high income and be like, well, I want to be like them. They have all these amazing things. They have all this expensive stuff. They're so cool. I want to be like them. So then they start trying to act and live a life as if they're rich when they're not. It's like, rich people can live a rich life because they're rich, because they have way more money than they need. So of course their lifestyle will look extravagant, will look abundant, will look like they have more. Usually because they do have more, but that's the whole point. They have so much money, of course they can have more than what you have. The thing is, you gotta live within your budget. Actually, you need to live below your budget. If your budget is $1,000 a month, you need to be living a $500 lifestyle, not a $1,000 lifestyle, and definitely not a $1,500 lifestyle. Don't live above your means. Don't try to spend more money than you actually make. Always spend less than what you make. Always. Right? be reasonable, right? Be rational. You know, buy cheap stuff, right? Buy less stuff. Like literally not buying anything is the best thing you can do when it comes to money. Is not buying things. You don't need to buy everything that exists, right? Like you don't need a coffee machine and a microwave, right? You don't need both of those. You could probably get you could probably just buy the microwave, right? And the microwave will allow you to make coffee anyway. Like you could just make coffee in the microwave. So don't even waste time buying both, right? Just buy one and it takes care of both problems. Or instead of trying to buy a whole bunch of kitchen supplies, just get an air fryer. You can make so many meals with an air fryer. Get a microwave and use it to just heat up a whole bunch of TV dinners or something like that, right? Preferably, cheap stuff. Another route you can go is eating healthy, right? Eating fruits and vegetables. That will drastically reduce the need for you to cook, right? And you can just get into farming. Like I was saying earlier with the whole tomato thing, you can just grow tomatoes and potatoes and lettuce, asparagus, right? Carrots, apple trees and so forth and so forth. And there you have all the food you'll need. You'll save a lot of money just by doing that. You'll save a lot of money just by, growing your own food. And you will always have food whenever you're hungry, right? This is the kind of future that people need to do, especially if you're poor, right? If you classify yourself as poor, then you need to do what you can with what you have. Use your money to make things easier. For example, trying to get into eating healthier so that way you spend less money. You don't want to spend money at fast food places. You don't want to spend money, because think about it, you hear a lot about the whole inflation, like, oh my God, things are costing more. Yes, products are costing more. But if you're smart, right, you'll go on the internet, TikTok being one of them, YouTube being another, Google is your friend, right? You can go get a whole bunch of information on how to grow your own food, right? How to cook your own meals, right? Learn how to cook. That way you don't have to rely on McDonald's making you your breakfast. You make your own breakfast, right? Because the thing is, these companies, these businesses will jack up the prices to provide you the same service they've been providing you for like hundreds of years, right? There's nothing different about what they're doing. They're not giving you more food for what you're paying more for. They're just increasing the price, but still giving you the same small burger, right? The same, the same watered down, the same sugary soda, right? Like they're not giving you anything new. It's not like the soda is healthier. It's not like the burgers are healthier for you to be paying more, right? So why are you paying more? So that's another thing. By you constantly, paying, for these products, these services from these companies, right? The rich, as it were, and they just keep getting richer. That's what's keeping you poor. Because you keep supporting them, but they don't support you back, right? They definitely don't support you by giving you more for what you're paying for. They definitely don't care about your health, so they're definitely not trying to make whatever they sell to you this food related. They don't try to make it healthier. They're definitely not trying to promote the idea of eating, healthy, right? Like fruits and vegetables. They want you to keep eating their processed food, their products. If you look at the ingredients, it doesn't look like you get a bag of chips. It doesn't look like, oh, okay, potatoes and some salt and some seasoning and some natural oils, and then that's it, and that's all the ingredients. Like, no, you see all this extra shit, food coloring and other chemical words that you don't even know what they are. It's like, okay, I don't even know what these words are yet. Somehow they're in what I'm eating. What the hell? Does that make sense? I'm eating stuff I can't even pronounce, that I don't even know what it is. Then when you do Google it and find out what it is, you realize, wait a minute, most of this stuff can be used for construction work. It could be used to build a building, and I'm eating it? What kind of nonsense is this? Exactly. Because you're not thinking. You're not thinking like the way you should. Ironically, most rich people eat healthy. Most rich people don't eat at like McDonald's or anything like that. They don't eat at the same place you eat. They don't eat the same things you eat. Think about that. They eat better than you, right? They're always trying to be healthy. Granted, sometimes they'll eat something that's not necessarily healthy, but it's unique and different. It's like, oh, I want the experience. I'm gonna eat snails or some shit like that. Just a puffer fish or something. Caviar. Like, I'm gonna eat something different just because it's unique and different. But other than that, on average, they're eating healthy on average. They tend to eat fruits and vegetables. Normally. As a poor person, you should be doing the same instead of eating potato chips and sodas and cookies and stuff like that. All right? So this is part of why the rich get rich and the poor get poor, is because they're selling us crap and we keep paying for it. And since we're paying for it, the money that we give them, they use it to eat better, to live better, to do better things in life. And the stuff they do better is for them anyway. They do it for themselves. They don't do things better for us, that's for sure, right? Or the people with less money. So since they're not going to do nothing for us, we clearly got to do things for ourselves. But you know what's an extra irony? A lot of the people who are rich, at one point, they probably started off poor, right? And they were always with the, oh, no, you know, they had the mindset like, the rich are assholes. They don't look out for nobody. They don't help nobody, blah, blah, blah. But then the irony is they become rich, then they become the asshole. And it's not just because they have the money. They just remember all the times that they, hated, their poor lifestyle, right? Being poor and stuff like that, and the rich not helping them. That now when they're rich, they're like, well, I'm not going to help nobody else. I'm not going to help out the poor. Why? They ain't helped me, but all the nonsense. Like, why should I help anybody? Nobody helped me, blah, blah, blah. Right? And it's like, that's very hypocritical. You used to be poor. You're supposed to have understood, the dynamic, the reason why you were poor. And then once you figured out how to not be poor anymore, you're at a better position in your life now. So you should be helping others to get to your level, to your position. But instead, you want to be selfish and be like, nobody helped me, so I'm not going to help nobody else. When in reality, that's false. People did help you. If you started a business and started selling things and started making money, the people who paid for your services and your business and your products, they were your help. They helped you. Your employees helped you. So you can't say that no one helped you when literally that's how you got to where you got. You got to your financial status because of other people. You didn't get there by yourself, right? You didn't put all that money that's in your bank account in there out of your own pocket. That money was put in there because of other people putting the money in there. Other people paying you for something you did, right? So it's always funny how some people, will use certain terms like, self-made or something like that, or just the idea like, ain't nobody helped me, I had to do things myself. It's like, you did a lot of things yourself, yes, but you still needed other people in order for what you did to matter. Because what you do for others is what benefits you, your value. The reason you get paid is because you did something for somebody. Just like when you go to work. When you go to work and you do your job, you get a paycheck, right? Your value to the company, right? Your value to who you work for gets compensated through money. So you can't say that no one did anything for you when you literally got paid for doing something, and vice versa. The company can't say you didn't do nothing for them because you clearly did. That's why they paid you. They paid you because you do stuff for them. If you did nothing for them, then they don't owe you no money, right? They don't have to give you no money if you did nothing for them. But clearly you did something, which was work, so they paid you. So these are the types of things that, I noticed that's going on in the world, that most people don't even think about or consider. They're too busy just focusing on the fact that other people have a lot of something that they don't have, and then they don't consider the possibility of the reason why the other side has more than them is because they keep giving the other side more. They keep supporting the other side. And yes, it's true, the other side is not giving back any support. I agree, that is a problem. But at the same time, if they were in those people's position, they're more likely to do the same. And that's an unfortunate reality. If you are poor now, of course you're going to be mad at the rich. But if you suddenly became rich tomorrow, you will become just as toxic as them, right? Or, in your viewpoint, you'll be just like them, right? So the idea, hopefully, is not to be like that, right? Is to be like, okay, yes, my goal is to make a lot of money, not for myself, because that's a selfish mindset. That's where most rich people are selfish, and that's why the poor complain about rich people, because rich people tend to be selfish, right? It's not because they have a lot of money that they're selfish. It's because they're selfish, which is why they ended up getting a lot of money in the first place from everybody else, and then just keep it instead of giving it back, for, stuff, right? Products, services, that kind of stuff, right? Or at least just give most of it back to the community, back to the people who supported you and got you to your rich lifestyle as a thank you. Like, thank you for, making me rich. So here's some money as a thank you, like a refund. Like, here, y'all made me rich. My life is awesome. I don't have to worry about money anymore. So thank you for that. So here's a refund. Let me give you some of the money back, so y'all can, try to get to my level, right? Try to get to where I'm at. You gave me money and I got rich. So I'm going to give you money and hopefully you'll get rich too, right? That kind of concept. But most people aren't like that. They tend to be selfish. And the idea is not to be selfish. But you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. So if you have a job, that's a start. The next step is to save that money, as much of it as possible. Not all of it. You don't have to try to save all of it, but save some of it. Save $1 here and there. It counts, right? It adds up. If you save $1 a day for 365 days, that's $365. That $365 can go towards an investment, right? We have stuff in the stock market called fractional shares. You can invest as little as $1 into a company. You can invest as little as $1 into Amazon, into Microsoft, right? Into McDonald's, into all these companies that's already making money off of you. If you like Netflix, invest in Netflix. If you like, iPhones, right? And you have an iPhone, invest in Apple, Apple stock, right? Make money off of the company that makes money off of you. Make money off of them, right? Just logical. Because another thing is the mindset of us versus them, right? It's like, well, the rich are rich for a reason. You might want to, instead of trying to be against them, you might want to join them, right? The idea of like, well, obviously you want to be rich, so why don't you join them? As in, get involved in what they're involved in. If the reason they're rich is because they own Amazon stock, then you own Amazon stock. Or if the reason they're rich is because they actually own Amazon itself, well, you can own some stock in Amazon. And that's just the same as owning the company itself, right? It's just the same as creating the company. So do, right? And be part of it, right? Join forces. Because it's easy to be on one side being mad at the other side. But if you join the other side and come to, some type of compromise, some type of mutual agreement, you'll do better that way. So instead of complaining that Jeff Bezos is rich, buy some Amazon stocks and you'll be rich too. You know what I mean? The richer. Because the richer he gets, right? The whole rich get rich and the poor get poor. Well, if he keeps, if he's going to keep getting richer, right? Then invest in him so that way you can get richer too. That way, the whole rich get richer thing applies to you instead of just to the rich, right? if that's always going to be the case, the rich get rich and the poor get poor, you don't want to be the poor, is what I'm trying to say. If you can get in with the rich people, so that way when they get richer, you'll get richer as well, then that's the route you should aim for. And that's the end of the podcast.